Hello friends and family, thank you for tuning in to my channel. Tonight I would like to talk a little bit about what colors you should get if you're just starting a new medium. I know it can be really overwhelming to just go to an art store and look at all the brands and the color choices. And even if you buy them all, the chances are that you're probably not going to use most of the colors. So it doesn't really make sense to just let them sit there and dry. And I also wouldn't recommend you to get those basic sets, the 5 set or the 10 set. At least to me, those are just really generic and random colors. And especially if you're doing something kind of specialized like portraits or even landscapes, you're probably going to need, a specialized set of colors that you can use. And you won't really enjoy a basic set. The first absolutely essential color for me is titanium white. I know a lot of people recommend mixing white or any other white that is in kind of a yellowish hue, but titanium white is definitely more flexible and easier to use. But at first, if I'm painting and I want to achieve a nice depth in my piece, I can do that by having deep shadows and highlights that really stand out on a canvas and really shine. And that is only achievable by having titanium white. You can even see how it stands out on white paper. The other thing is the titanium white mixes really well with any color without changing its tone. And that is really a thing to look out for, especially if you're going for a specific palette. If you're making a piece that is specifically toned, let's say to reds, or if you're going for a very warm or a very cold palette. If I'm mixing with mixing white or gray, some people mix with grays, I change the color. If I'm mixing with mixing white, it's a warm color, so any tone I mix with it will end up warm. If I'm mixing with titanium white, the base color doesn't change. It goes nice and pale and pastel, but it doesn't change. Next one is a basic skin tone. This one specifically is called flesh color. While it definitely doesn't bring you all the way through your piece, it makes your life easier. Especially if you're working in a fast drying medium or even in oils, if you let your colors dry in between or you run out of a color, you can never ever mix the exactly same tone twice. So it's really helpful to have a basic skin tone to get you started, as a base for all your mixing or your base layer on the canvas, and then you can move on from that starting point. It mixes well with browns to get those earthy tones and very nice deep shadows. And if you also mix it with red, you can achieve different blushes on the skin, like on the cheeks or under your chin, and also a very nice color for the lips. The brown that I just used is called Van Dyke Brown, and it's a really great mixture of black, green, and red. It's a perfect color you can use for your skin tones because it can substitute black and not be that overwhelming and overly too saturated like pure black can be. You can mix it with skin tones to achieve really dark and deep shadows that really fit the face tone without turning the skin tone really gray and kind of muddy looking. If you mix it with the other colors, you can achieve really nice tones that are very soft and muted, but still, dark and saturated. Especially with greens, you can get very nice earthy tones, very deep green in kind of an olive green hue. That is exactly another perfect color you can use in your skin tones. And the last color meant purely for the face is burnt sienna. For some reason, I find it really hard to mix very nice brown tones, so burnt sienna is really an essential to me. Especially in the areas that I want an extra pop of warmth, the burnt sienna is perfect to mix with your skin tones. I like to work on my piece and work it up to almost imperfection and then use burnt sienna over the transition between my midtones and shadows to make my piece that much more vibrant. Coming up next is a cadmium red deep, which is a very beautiful, vibrant red color. It's one of my favorites because it mixes really well with other colors. It's that one perfect mixture. And because it's so well saturated and pigmented, it takes you a very long time to use it up. So I'd say for portraits, you have a choice between Alizarin Crimson and this one. For me personally, alizarin crimson is a bit too far on the magenta side. You know, it's a colder color, so it makes it harder to mix in your skin tones, but it's still a very nice color. So if you want to get both, it's also a good choice. You can see cadmium red if I mix in with a white. It's also on a colder side of reds, so it goes pastel magenta. But if I mix it with my skin tones, it creates very nice and warm blushes on the skin. Also, if I mix it with yellows, I can take it to various shades of warm reds from scarlet to blood orange, and all the way, if I mix it with more yellow, I can turn it all the way to different kinds of oranges and up to various warm kinds of yellow shades. Moving on to the other side of the spectrum, this is Prussian blue. If you've seen my previous works, you know I definitely love working with ultramarine blue, which is a really strong and vibrant kind of blue. But if we're talking about the 10 essentials, Prussian blue is definitely a blue to go. It mixes really well with other colors because it's much softer and much more muted, and it gives you that feeling of depth and darkness without being overwhelmingly saturated. If you're painting nightscapes or marines and you want your portrait to really look natural, you definitely need to use Prussian blue in your underpainting or in your shadows to just mix with your skin tones. So it makes your portrait fit the background really well because you all know that your background definitely reflects in your shadows and in your highlights. So if you're just painting in your warm skin tones without mixing any blue in it, the portrait definitely doesn't look like it fits the scene. The next blue I have is sky blue, which is much lighter and much colder kind of blue in comparison to Prussian blue. And I almost see it as a cold counterpart to that, especially if you look how it mixes with white. It's a perfect color for your skies and daylight. It's a very nice color, very vibrant, and it mixes really well also with greens and creates very nice and very cold kind of marine greens. And speaking of greens, this one is called Viridian Hue and it's a very beautiful cold green color. You must have already noticed I definitely like this kind of very cool shades in my blues and my greens, but what makes this color really special is the fact that it's made of just one pigment, and for one, it means that it's really vibrant and really shiny on a canvas, and it gives you an extra depth that is very hard to achieve if you have colors mix of a lot of pigments. The second thing is I very much like how this color mixes with other colors. Because it's made of just one pigment, it doesn't react weirdly with other pigments, so it's perfect for mixing. And by using yellow, you can take, this very cool shade of green that is very, special. You can take it all the way to different, very natural kind of greens, all the way up to very warm colors like lime green, for example. And next one is yellow. This one is called cadmium yellow light. And I have to say I use yellow very little. It's definitely the last color I use up, but it's a necessity for mixing. So if you're deciding about 10 colors you have to get when starting, yellow is a color that you just have to buy. And this one specifically is again made of just one pigment, so the same thing applies like with the green. And the very last color on the list is black. This one is ivory black, which is pretty much the blackest black you can ever get. And I know there are situations where you try to avoid using a lot of black, for example, in your skin tones, or there are some pieces where I even tried to avoid using black altogether and just experimented with other deep colors. However, black is a great color if you're going for a very saturated piece with a lot of contrast. It gives you that extra depth that you can have by having really, absolutely dark shadows. And it's also a necessity for mixing. You can mix it with whites to achieve various kinds of grays that you can then mix with your shadows or in your highlights to get a very muted and soft piece. And you can also mix it with other colors to tone them down very much to have very dark piece. It mixes very nice with blues. I definitely love the look. And one of my favorite colors is also very saturated burgundy red, which is achieved as a mixture of ivory black and cadmium red. So it's a really beautiful color. And that's it for this video. Let me know how you've liked it and what would you like to see next in the comments below. I'm currently working on a painting using just these colors, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my next video if you're curious how it turned out. See you next time.